Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, a crime is a crime regardless who does it. Obviously the context matters, right? So let's say you are in self-defense and you commit a crime. Well, that's different than being the aggressor, initiator, right, of that crime. And I'm talking about, let's say, I always use or most of the time I use the analogy of a rape. Let's say you have a rapist attacks the victim, and in the process the victim injures the attacker. And now you can say, oh, that's an assault coming from the victim, but the assault is in the self-defense, and that therefore should be overlooked because it did not initiate and for obvious reasons. In this case we have attacks on civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, and as you know, Russians destroyed infrastructure in Ukraine. Ukraine destroyed infrastructure in Russia. It's a I give you, you give me. The new developments over there are that the Ukrainians hit within Russia, the territory of Russia, not Crimea or the occupied or new annexed territories or any euphemism or whatever. No, the same town that Ukraine was able to attack on multiple occasions already, and that is Belgorod. So this article comes from the New Voice of Ukraine from Saturday, October 15th, 2022. This is the title. Explosions in Russia's Belgorod. Governor reports fire at oil depot near city. I don't know if oil depot is a legitimate military target, but you can say, well, it's resources. Well, if you go by that, then who feeds the military? The civilians. So would you consider civilians then a legitimate target? No, because the civilians are working, producing the food, right, and transporting the food to the troops. So therefore they are actively involved in this. So if you want to make like that and connection between these two, then use this one as the same way, right? Oil, a depot, refinery, it's not only for military purposes, okay? So let's be mindful of that. And I'm quoting, "We have another shelling," he wrote. "One of the shells hit the oil depot in the Belgorod region. I am at the scene. The Ministry of Emergency Situations is already fighting the fire. There is no threat of the fire spreading. I will keep you posted." So this comes from an authority from Belgorod. Local residents are also posting photos of and videos on social media. The Ukrainian military command hasn't commented on the report of shelling. Well, it's kind of like strange. It happened over like 3 times already. Helicopters, remember another gas station was blown over there, I think. And on October 14, a fire broke out at the Lunch thermal power plant in Belgorod after sounds of powerful explosions were heard over the city. After that, a local substation was caught fire. As a result of the explosion, some residents were left without electricity. Meanwhile, out of the 10 Russian missiles launched from Russia's Belgorod Oblast towards the Ukraine city of Kharkiv, all 10 exploded in the air. Wow, can you believe that? That's funny. With debris from one accidentally hitting a thermal power plant in Belgorod. So, these guys are saying that actually it was Russians' fault or something. I mean, Russia did it. So the governor reported that explosions in Russia's Belgorod government reports fire at oil depot. Really, and just fell right on it. Not a coincidence, right? So this is what I say. Now let's analyze this a little bit here. Fire depot. So we have 2 things here, as far as I can say. It's the thermal power plant. I don't know if that's the same thing as the oil depot. To make the connection, anyway, it says the explosions at ammunition depot near Russia's Belgorod kills 3, injured over 10. Is it legitimate for the Ukrainians to hit within Russia? Yeah, I think it is. And why not? Why would they refrain from doing that if it's all war? I mean, you're using your territory to hit me, and I'm not supposed to retaliate. I think they could. Now, the story with those 10 out of 10, that's a funny story. I don't believe that a bit. And as I said, in the future will be the Russians launch 10 rockets or 10 missiles, and the Ukrainians will report, we destroyed 20 missiles out of 10 launched. This was going to be. So right now they got from, let's say, 1 out of 10, which was at the beginning, to 3 out of 10, then 7 out of 10. Right now is 10 out of 10. Next one is going to be, they're going to be shooting down more than the Russians launched. That's what's going to happen, because these guys cannot show stagnation. They have to show the improvement all the time, but they got the maximum right now, 10 of 10. So no more explosions now. That's it. And regarding, as I said, hitting those, I think everything now is it's on the table since the Kerch Bridge, the Crimean Bridge. I think that was a red line. No, I know it was a red line because the Russians stated it on numerous occasions. The Ukrainians crossed it. The Russians hit targets more than before. So if you want to just go with a narrative, yeah, they destroyed civilians and all that, and the Ukrainians did not do anything because the Ukrainian missiles were just avoiding civilians. When they would see a civilian, they would stop, go back, and fly somewhere else in a space. That's how they are programmed. No civilian died of Ukrainian or NATO or however United States' missiles. Nothing. Zero. But the other guys, 100%. Even though they reported that Russia has an accuracy of about 30%. But it seems like the 30% is 100% on civilians, because they are murderous, killers, and war criminals. Okay, we got that. Okay, now that we bullshitted enough, let's go to this one. I don't believe 10 out of 10. I mean, okay, that's first one. I just have doubts. Okay, it's within my rights to have doubts, to be skeptical. That's one. The second one, yes, the Russians hit you, you hit them back. Well, why don't you go all the way? Because eventually you will go all the way. You will go and hit whomever. And you're going to report it as a justification. Yeah, they hit us, we're going to hit them back. Which already happened, but they couldn't report it that way. I mean, Russia has what? Supposedly they're running out of manpower. Really? And they have almost 2 million people, active combatants, troops. And they have a possibility of what? About 30 or some 30 million Russians that could be incorporated in the army. So, you know, nevertheless, as I said, they hit that. It's within their rights, let's put it, or rules of war engagement. I don't see anything, oh my God, they should not. Well, you did that too, so what do you want? It doesn't mean that two wrongs make a right, but what are you going to do? You want to lose a war? Just being, oh, I lost the war, right now I'm a slave or whatever, I'm imprisoned, and but I was the fair one, the correct one. I never broke anything. But now you are a servant or whatever you are, a prisoner, and they do whatever they want to you and your family. But it's okay if you choose to do this because of those guys across the Atlantic. That's fine. Ask the 4 guys in charge of your nation, Ukraine, and see what they say. Well, they have to ask their bosses first, and then they will get to you. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.